was real happy when I found out I was coming back into Florence. Several fellows must have thought they recognized me today because they looked at me and just smiled. One of them laughed right out loud. I was coming in out there in the front of the courthouse tonight, and there was two nice-looking fellows standing there, and one of them looked over at me and said, the fellow standing next to him, he said, "I believe that's the ugliest woman I ever seen in my life." Other one said, "Yes, she's awful ugly, but she might be a pretty good old girl. You know, beauty's only skin deep." And the other one said, "Well, let's skin her." See, when they passed around looks, I thought they said books, and I said, "Give me a funny one." The other fellow said, "You know, I believe I recognize that old girl." Said, "That's that Minnie Pearl. She's been down there at the Grand Ole Opry for 100 years or more." He said, "I wonder if she really is a country girl." Said, "She carries on like she's from the country and wears all them country clothes." He said, "Why, I bet she don't know a goose from a gander." I turned around and I said, "Well, at Grinder's Switch, we don't worry about that. We just put them all out there together and let them figure it out for themselves." Well, sir, when I left home, that's Grinder's Switch is where I live at. And when I left home, well, my girlfriend, Lizzie Tinkham, she's not married, neither. And both of us, of course, we are what you might call always looking around and interested in seeing fellas, you know, we haven't saw before. So well, excuse me, you see, we've had an awful hard time because the weather's been so bad. We've been in rain ever since we started this campaign, and last week I was over in Oneonta, and I went to the doctor, and he gave me some medicine, and it like killed me. It wasn't the medicine hurt me so bad, it is the directions on the bottle. Said, take it 2 nights of running and skip a night. That is bad, them nights I took it a running. Them nights I had to take it a skipping, that like to kill me. And not feeling well, too. Well, sir, when I left home, though, my girlfriend, Lizzie Tinkham, she said, "I wish I could go with you on that campaign tour for Judge Wallace." She said, "You're bound to see a lot of handsome fellows down there in Alabama. But since I can't go, if you see any handsome fellows down there, will you flirt with them just for me here?" So I've been kind of looking around at them, and so when I got in here to Florence this afternoon, and tonight, I kind of flirted with a few fellers, just for Lizzie, not for me. I seen that, yeah, that's right. I seen that handsome E.E. Beck. So I kind of flirted with Mr. Beck, you know, just for Lizzie, not for me, never for me, just for Lizzie. And then I went on a little further and I seen that handsome Jimmy White. And I kind of flirted with him, just for Lizzie, not for me, not ever for me. But I'll tell you right now, when I seen that handsome Bill Allman, that's when I decided to go into business for myself. Where is he? Oh, he's a good sport. He really is. Mr. Allman, you can relax. I'm all bark and no bite. I'm like Mark Twain said about the weather. Everybody talks about it and nobody does anything about it. I'm that way about all these fellers. Are you taking me on TV right now, sir? Well, I want to say a special howdy to all the folks that are looking in and listening in. I didn't know that he was taking me. I didn't know I was getting my beauty struck. Well, sir, I'll tell you one thing, though. My feller didn't want me to come down here. He liked to have a fit. He don't like me to come down here in Alabama. It ain't safe for a pretty girl to walk down the streets now, sure enough. You'd be surprised. He told me before I left, he said, "What would you do if you was to run up on a bunch of fast Alabama fellers that'd just kiss you at the drop of a hat? What would you do?" I said, "I reckon I'd be all the time dropping my hat." Well, it's a great pleasure to be traveling with such a wonderful person as Judge Wallace. And at this time, to present him, I would like to introduce to you Mr. Frank Potts. Mr. Potts, if you will.
Thank you, Minnie Pearl, and friends, ladies and gentlemen. Before I introduce our speaker for this evening, I would like to recognize some of the leaders in his campaign here in Colbert and Lauderdale County.